Howdy! Today I have some things that have been kind of bothering me, and it's probably bothering a lot of people, having to deal with all this stuff that they're dealing with this year. This is a basic one, this particular one that I'm starting off with. It's called common sense. You ever heard of it? Let's see what we got here. We have... Can I get it all in there? Who knows? Common sense is sound practical judgment concerning everyday matters, or a basic ability to perceive, understand, and judge in a manner that is shared by or common to nearly all people. I thought I'd be a little more intelligent instead of just blithering on. Common sense, like, you usually learn a lot of this kind of thing when you're little. It's a natural thing to learn, sorta. But not everyone seems to grasp common sense. When you're a kid, and someone says, "Don't touch that, it's hot." Why? Because it will hurt. And they touch it, and ow, it hurts. So their common sense is, don't touch something on the stove. Or if someone says that's hot, don't touch it. Now there'll still be people that go, "Oh, I don't think it's hot," and still touch it. But common sense says if something is hot or on the stove boiling or what, it's going to be hot, it will hurt you, don't mess with it. Common sense says if you're going to walk out on a rocky road or broken glass out there or something, you have to have some kind of footwear. Otherwise you're going to get hurt or bruised feet or cut feet. That's common sense. You may have heard of the expression, "That guy doesn't have the common sense that God gave a goose." Geese are known to be kind of diddly-do head, doop-da-doop-da-doo. I don't know. That's just kind of what's said. Common sense. Don't go out in a tornado or a hailstorm because something could happen to you. And there are people that still do it. There's a lot of people in this country that don't seem to have any common sense. Common sense says, if someone tells you, well, my mother used to say, and a lot of mothers, if your friend, I want to do it. Why? Because my friend, if your friend jumps off a bridge, are you going to jump off a bridge? It's that kind of thing. Most people would have a common sense say, no, why would I do that? But there seem to be a lot of people that are taken. They're taken all right. How can I approach this without getting kicked off of here? I have my own views, but I try to be as non-biased as possible when I explain these things. Where is it? I looked up the meaning of Democrat, and I looked up the meaning of Republican. And it has evolved in the 100 and some years that we've been a country. But the original meaning of Democrat is a supporter of democracy, a system of government through elected representatives, basically, okay? And a republic is a form of government ruled according or charter of or constitution. In other words, they go by the rule. The other ones go by people that try to do the best they can for you. We have a combination of that in this country. We try to go by the rule of the land, and we try to do what's best for people, because times change through the years. We have different kinds of things. There's computers and mass communication that we didn't have hundreds of years ago. So the government has to try to protect its people and try to guide them and lead them into a very better existence. It seems to me there are a lot of people that go into politics, both sides, I'm not saying Democrat or Republican or whatever, the mind of these people is me, me, me. Seems to be more and more of that these days. I talked to my brother today, and he said, yeah, there seem to be a lot more me, me, me people. It's like they do what they can for themselves. They don't care about anyone else. Seems to be a lot of that. And a lot of, I think the word's graft? I'm not sure. But the people that someone says, hey man, pass this love for my company, and I'll give you $50,000 or stakes for a year or whatever. Okay, that's not so much. That's not cool. We shouldn't do that. A lot of the elected people make at least $175,000 a year. I've never seen that kind of money. The most I ever made was like $36,000 a year, and that's 20 years ago. It was decent coin, but I never saw big bucks. I never had all the perks and able to fly here and there and take vacation when I want. I was a working person. I still work today, but in different capacity. I live with my son, and they have 2 little ones, and when they need me to watch them, I watch them. At the drop of a hat sometimes. But usually it's planned. So, they let me live here. I earn my keep, but I still have to pay my own bills and groceries, etc., etc. It's give and take. A lot of life is give and take. Commercialism, capitalism is give and take. Give me the $50, I give you the whatever it is that you bought. It pretty much been that way for a long time, 3 drachmas will give you this loaf of bread, But we've gone to a credit card system which they didn't really have. When I was a little kid, some stores valued their steady customers, so they had a credit line. They had a little plate. They had a metal number stamped in it with your name. And they'd put it down on a little device and put the receipt on top, and they'd roll this thing back and forth. And it would imprint your name and your your credit number. And it was like a tab. And once a month you paid the tab, or when you could, if you wanted to pay it off sooner. That evolved into credit cards, which I had once, and once you get behind in that, and if you can't promise to keep up, you're doomed. So I no longer have a credit card. I do have a debit card, which comes right out of the bank, basically. Someone compromised my debit card a week ago, 10 days ago. Someone tried to spend $137.26 on hairdos. Then they tried to spend $89 somewhere else. And then they tried to spend over $1,000 somewhere else. It was all declined. And the bank sent me a notice saying, we're not sure if you made these purchases. Did you make these purchases? I said, no. So they said, all right, we're sending you a new debit card. Expected in 4 to 6 business days. Well, let's see. They sent it on Monday, and I have not received it yet. So 5 business days is tomorrow, and 6 business days is Tuesday. I fear that the cluster mailbox, maybe the mailman put it in the wrong box. Maybe someone stole it. Maybe it got lost. If I don't hear by Tuesday, I'm going to have to drive to a bank and deal with it. I have had my own, I was raised fairly conservative, okay? But we have an open mind, a liberal thinking mind. My father was that way. He voted Republican, but he was very giving and loving, and that's how I kind of am. I'm very concerned with what you have, Try to keep it the best you can. Do the best you can and work for what you have. I don't like the people that are just come at you with your hand out, because they have to do something. Otherwise, why are they living? Here, I sound like some old curmudgeon. Maybe I am. My opinions have changed a little through the years because I've lived in bad, bad poverty. So some of the things like, they'll say, well, these people don't need any help. Look at them. They have a color TV. Sometimes, all of a sudden, the death of someone, a divorce, or the company closing can put you in a real bad disadvantage. So I'm glad that there are programs out there, but you still have to try as a human being. Where am I going? I am going all over the place with this common sense. Common sense, and I was talking about government in the United States. It's a two-party system, basically. Other countries have more parties. Actually, we have Independent Party, Green Party, and Freedom Party, which is constitutionalists or something. But basically, when you go to vote or deal with any kind of voting thing, they ask you, are you Republican or Democrat? So you kind of have to pick one. And the only reason I picked what I did was I was working for the government as a voting judge. You have to have a Republican and a Democrat to do anything. You have to do it together, so it's unbiased. And where I lived, there was a whole lot of one party, so I said I was this other party, so that I was sure to get hired and used for the elections, which was nice income. But I don't know. I just vote for the issues, for the people. I look to see what they've done in the past. I know about some of these people, and some of them will surprise you. When I lived in Missouri, I voted for Josh Hawley because of certain things that he was doing. And I thought, well, this guy really cares. No, he didn't. So the wool can be pulled over your eyes. But that was a mistake, and I knew I made a mistake. Now, some people get conned into believing a certain way. We love you. You love me, right? Yeah, you do. You're going to vote for me, and I'm going to this, and I know this, and I know that. And they'll say, yeah, and then the person will pick up on the voters, yeah, and they'll go down that path and tell as many harebrained stories as they can. And these people get deeper and deeper and deeper to believe this person. People that know me know what I'm talking about. I lived under a narcissist. My mom was one, and I was pretty much neglected. You know, if I made her look good, it was okay. If I didn't, there was hell to pay. And I couldn't wait to get out of the house. I left when I was 21, because that was the age of consent at that time. It's now 18. But I left and moved in with the guy I ended up marrying, who was just as bad, if not worse. He used to hit me. He used to kick me. He used to call me names constantly. And if it was for him, wonderful. If it was for someone else, didn't want to even deal with it. Wouldn't bend one way or another. You know, it was his way or nothing. So I know what it's like living in that circumstance and not being able to tell anyone for fear of retribution. It is not good. It makes you sick to your insides. It really does. Your life has to be secret because it has to be. Otherwise you will get hurt, or your family members might get hurt or killed. I don't like that. And that seems to be what's happening with one particular person that's running for president. This person's never really been told no in their life. They've been ignored a lot by their parents. I know that feeling. And you either, fight up against it, I didn't have gobs of money. And I married someone and became very poor very quickly. So my life was different, but I understand how this person is believing and living because of their past. They don't have any common sense. I remember my mom and I were on the phone to my aunt and my cousin in Philadelphia when Trump was building the casino. He hired Polish companies to do the building. And then he didn't pay them. And they said, sir, we have this contract. We did the work. We need to get paid. And he said, do you want to still be in this country? Then drop it. If you want to be deported, we can work on that. And so they weren't paid. And that was a long time ago. And I thought, God, what an asshole. Ultra-rich people do that kind of shit. And they get away with it. Really rich people get away with a lot. A lot. Speeding, tickets, murder. August Bush Jr. grandson had a girl over at his place. This was when I was living in St. Louis. He had a girl over at his place, and they were doing coke and everything. He promised this girl, that she could star in his commercials for beer. And she overdid it, and she died. And they just gave the kid a slap on the wrist. Money. There's a lot of things I could say, and then religion. You're in polite company, you're not supposed to talk about money or religion. Or politics, I think. And here I am, talking about all three. I was brought up Lutheran, which we call, jokingly, a step-down Catholic. It's a Christian religion. There's many. There's Methodist and Baptist and there's Universal Church, there's Catholic, there's all kinds of churches. There is Muslim, there is Jewish, there's Judeo-Christian, it's a whole gamut. All believe in some higher power, whatever you call your higher power. The thing that watches over you, the thing that helps you know what's right from wrong. In the Christian religion, there are the 10 Commandments, which in the Old Testament, Moses went up to Mount Sinai and God talked to him through a burning bush. This is how it was written that I know of. It could have been different thousands of years ago when it was written or told. And he came down the mountain. He was a lot older. It aged him, apparently, and he had these tablets with 10 Commandments scribbled on them. The very first one, there's things in there like, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife or covet the neighbor's stuff. In other words, you shouldn't want that stuff so bad that you want to steal it. Okay? Thou shouldn't steal. You shouldn't kill. These are rules that are basic rules to have a society that can get along. I learned this in ethics class from Sister Mary Wiederholt. I love that lady. She was a nun. And she didn't agree with some of the things that I put out there, but she said I argued my point well. And that she was, could understand. But the very first of the commandments, the very first one is, I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. That doesn't mean Allah or Shiva or anything like that. That means something that's so important to you that you don't think of God, like money, other things. There's just greed and money and takes the place of anything. It's the most important thing to these people. And power. And it's like, I don't understand. Why? I think that I am a good person and that I have a good soul. Why do people have to do that? Why do people have to steal? They think that I have something more that's better that they want, so they take it? I don't have anything better. I really don't. I don't understand the mindset of some of the people, but I do understand. I took a class in mass media, and there's 7 types of propaganda. So I was really good with commercialism and stuff. 7 types of propaganda, the band, everyone's doing it, get on the bandwagon, or you'll have a celebrity endorsement or whatever. And when you advertise, I also went to broadcasting school. When you advertise a 60-minute spot on the radio, you're supposed to mention the product or the company name at least 3 times, if not more. Repetition will make people have it stick in their head. Repetition will do it. The public has a short memory, so repetition constantly will keep you in that little groove. And you start to believe it. And people around you say, well, I like Lorraine. She's a great person. She likes this, whatever. I've got to like it too. I'll bet you I'll like it. And then sometimes people get involved with something and they decide, the last bit of common sense they have says, maybe I should just, stay home that day. But they don't. There is a type of thing called mass hysteria. There's a type of thing, gang mentality, which is what the people on January 6th had. Probably a lot of them showed up to be peaceful. But then things escalated and you have mob mentality, where everybody's doing it, I'm going to do it too, because I won't get in trouble because everyone's doing it. No, not cool. So you have to have common sense. Please have common sense. Don't think of just for today. Think about tomorrow, maybe next week. A lot of these ultra-rich people think for me, now. They don't care about their children or grandchildren. It doesn't matter to them. You don't matter to them. But you do matter to me. So, if you have some common sense, please feed that common sense. Don't let your common sense die. Okay? Whew. I probably have a lot more to say, but I've already talked way too long. I love you guys. Stay safe. Use your common sense. Upward and onward.